sir. Good afternoon, 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 sir. Thank you, sir.
Are you a medical practitioner?
Yes, sir.
You've done your MD
No, sir. I've done only my MBBS.
from Madras Medical College.
Yes, sir.
So all that effort you put in studying medicine, will it not go in vain if you join the civil service?
Sir, my reason to join the MBBS was initially more so because there were different cancers in my family, including my mom being afflicted with cancer and my dad passed away due to cancer as well. So that was my initial impetus to join MBBS. And sir, during my MBBS, especially in my final year to internship, we've seen cases where even liver and renal transplants are done free of cost at the GH without charging a single penny. And that, I believe, is the success of schemes such as the PMJAY CMCHIS scheme. And sir, as a bureaucrat, I'll be able to devise even better schemes which can cater to a million population and save their lives. Apart from this, sir, the HOTA committee as well has observed that we need more specialists and technocrats into the service, and the lateral entry concept by itself is to rope in specialists. So I believe my medical education knowledge will help me in that.
That's a good response. So what are your pastimes?
So, sorry, sir.
Pastimes, hobbies, interests,
Sir,
other than academics? Obviously, you're good in academics.
So, as part of my volunteering into the NGOs, I've been doing certain drug de-addiction drives alongside an NGO that we had in our college called Being Helping Hands. I've also been part of the Cancer Survivor Support Group at the government hospital and organizations such as the Indian Medical Association, wherein I've been the national president as well for the medical students wing. Apart from these, I do play chess, and swimming is one of the sports that I take up, sir. So, in short, these are my major hobbies.
Okay, do you do regular swimming?
Yes, I go for swimming regularly.
How many strokes are there in swimming?
So, swimming by itself has a multitude of strokes, though there are 4 competitive strokes that we actually pursue, including the breaststroke, the backstroke, freestyle, and the butterfly stroke.
So, what is your favorite stroke?
So, for me, the backstroke is my personal favorite.
So, you are not participating in any competitive swimming events?
Sir, I've done it during my schooling rather, but post my schooling I've not participated, sir.
Where did you do your schooling?
Sir, it was at DAV Gopalapuram.
They have a pool in the campus.
Sir, they don't have a pool, but I was part of VV International School of Swimming at Vadaparani. And at the school level, they do tell us about inter-school tournaments. And they do have swimming as one of the events. So, as part of that, I used to participate, sir.
So, medical literacy, like financial literacy, is very important. How do you spread medical literacy in a population so widely distributed in India? Any ideas you have?
So, one would be the information, education and communication strategy that the government has been taking up. And that is through schemes as well, sir. Like just as how the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme is more of a motivational scheme for the parent to encourage and nurture the girl child. That is exactly a kind of scheme that we also need to increase awareness. Let's say the breast awareness campaign that we conduct during the Pink October month. That is one way by which awareness on breast cancer has increased. Similarly, sir, about diabetes and hypertension, which yet again happen to be causes for increased mortality in India. Nearly 1/3 of the people in India have NCDs. And for that as well, we have a World Diabetes Day in the month of November 14. And as well, sir, on these particular days, we've been conducting awareness campaigns, not just on slogan or emblems as such, but even on TV media. The PHCs run campaigns through mobile medical units. We have ASHA workers and ANMs who take up behavioral change communication with the communities, especially when it comes to dengue spread. We advise them not to keep stagnant water. So these are all part of the health awareness initiatives that I think the medical profession and the government has taken up alongside NGOs.
I find that you have won 40 gold medals in ABBS. You are the best outgoing doctor. You are the best Medicure award was given to you twice by Indian Medical Association. and a string of achievements and awards. Plus, you are a gold medalist in your final exam 2022. With that in background, service through medicine by pursuing medicine, vis-a-vis serving the public in public service, which you have not even started and you are aspiring for. The other one which you have and which you can definitely, considering the achievements that you have got. How do you match these two?
So when it comes to matching my service within the medical sector vis-a-vis what I aspire to be with the bureaucracy. So I do agree that I have not been a part of the bureaucracy firsthand to understand or analyze how or far-reaching implications that I will be able to make. But then, sir, in my limited capacity in the leadership positions that I have been into, I got the chance to work both with the public on the scale of NGOs and at the level of the policy-making bodies such as the National Medical Commission in my capacity as the National President for the IMA Medical Students Wing. So in those capacities, sir, I have been able to bring in certain changes, if not much, with the medical education policies and especially the one nation, one stipend policy that has been raised by medical students. I think I was able to take this up with the NMC as well. So sir, I think even during my medical profession, I have been into doing whatever little role that I can play, both as a leadership position that I have into, or probably in serving the poor with respect to NGOs as well, as in the drug de-addiction drive, sir. So I think I will be able to expand my horizon and the diversity with which I have been performing on these arenas to the larger civil service and the bureaucracy.
Seeing such an illustrious achievement so far, I am not able to digest the view that in the medical field you would be achieving much more than in a field in which you are yet to get into. So it is a bit not very convincing, considering the academics on one side and the public service which you have. If you had this before itself, you have deprived one person from getting into the medical seat. You could have pursued it after your +2 and pursued the public administration rather than getting gold medalist. Anyhow, that is your choice, that apart. What is your take on, what is the latest news today or yesterday which you saw in the paper? You read the paper, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
Any one news?
Sir, maybe one at the international sphere would be the recent conflicts between Iran and Pakistan with respect to bombing each other's stations in their respective countries. And one at the national sphere would be especially the Honorable Prime Minister arriving at Chennai to inaugurate the Khelo India Games at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, alongside the presence of the dignitaries such as the Honorable Chief Minister.
Can you name 3 terrorist outfits in this international scenario?
So,
any 3?
So one would be the Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyat, which is popularly known as Hamas. So this would be one, especially with the current context of Israel-Palestine conflict. The second one would be the Jaish al-Adl, which was bombed by Iran on Pakistan. So that was the recent bombing in Balochistan. And third, sir, would be the Lashkar-e-Toiba or other organizations such as the Hezbollah.
What is the international impact on the Houthis terrorists in the Yemen in the respect of conflict in the Red Sea?
So as far as the international arena is concerned, the Houthis are rebel tribals of the Yemen, and currently they control nearly 80% of Yemen alongside the Red Sea route. And their control of the Red Sea route has led them to bomb any country shipment which supports Israel, basically. So they've been bombing the shipments of India, or other countries as well, which have supported Israel, be it USA, UK. And the fallacy or the irony that I find here would be that China has a majority of its exports through the Red Sea route, and as such, USA and UK happen to be the major countries protecting the Red Sea from such invasion and piracy. So that I find is an irony, sir. But then there are alternatives that they've chosen to do, and that would be to go through the Cape of Good Hope in order to circumvent the Red Sea. So economically, that leads to a higher loss of revenue for the country, be it for India or for other countries as well. So that could lead to soaring oil exports, soaring oil prices, and an international sphere of inflation across the globe. So this could be one implication, sir.
Last question from my side. What is the difference between RTI and RTE?
So RTI refers to the Right to Information Act, which was promulgated in 2005 and later amended in 2014 as well.
What was the amendment made in 2008?
In 2008, sir. Sir, I'm not aware of the amendment in 2008.
2005, it was enacted.
Yes, sir.
It was amended. That amendment? No.
Sir, as far as I can recollect, the post of the Chief Information Commissioner, its tenure was changed to an ad hoc basis that the central government appoints rather than the fixed term of 6 years that was given before. And the second thing, sir, it was equated to that of the salary and the perquisites were equated to that of a Supreme Court's judge, which was later removed. The condition was removed from the Amendment Act. These are two things that I can recollect, sir. RTE is the Right to Education Act, sir. So this stipulates that every boy or girl, or rather even a transgender child, is eligible to education by the both government and private schools, provided until the class of 8th standard, and that is given on the condition that the schools are not supposed to charge any capitation fee or any other fee for the poor or disadvantaged sections of the society. So they have around 25% reserved for the RTE candidates. Every school is stipulated to.
So the right to internet would actually guarantee both RTI and RTE. What is your view?
So the right to internet definitely will bolster both right to information and right to education, because we are moving towards an era of e-governance, and the access to right to education and right to internet is definitely upheld by the right to internet is what I feel, sir. But if right to internet is alone going to guarantee, then probably it is not so, more because internet has not yet reached every nook and corner of our country, and there are still places lacking in the support system.
What
so
is the internet penetration now in India?
Sir, from what I can recollect, it is around 80%, sir, and the rural and tribal hill areas have a penetration of around 50-55%.
Your father was working in insurance.
Oh, sir, it was my mother.
So, like this treatment of patients, like taking medical insurance. But there is a problem, because I buy insurance, but I will not be covered, but government is trying to make it privatized, isn't it? Even instead of building hospitals, I will provide insurance cover. Government is not in that way. Whether it will be really effective, this sort of thing, because it will lead to profiting of private hospitals, and whether it will really benefit the poor, I don't know. So, what is your view on that?
Sir, as far as the PMJAY CMCHIS scheme is concerned, under the Ayushman Bharat, I feel that insurance has definitely reached even the last mile citizen, and reaching the last mile was one of the Saptarishi priorities of the budget as well. Sir, I feel that without insurance cover, just as how if we have a success example in front of us, which is the United States, wherein every single person is covered under Medicaid, and I feel that the current limit of 5 lakhs in fact needs to be increased to 10 lakhs, and that was one of the Vision 2047 statements that our Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned as well as part of the Viksit Bharat agenda. I feel that insurance is definitely pivotal, sir, and that is not something that leads to an impetus to the private healthcare setup, more so because most of the beneficiaries in the scheme are those from the government care setup. In fact, many of the private hospitals are not even empaneled under the PMJAY scheme. So I would rather feel that they should also be empaneled under it and brought under the cover of the scheme, sir.
But even the US system, there is a debate. No? It is a failed system on the Medicaid and all. And there is a counter, thing in UK, which is the national health system. I think that is provided entirely by government. People used to say that's a better system than the US system of insurance, medical insurance. So why don't we build hospitals instead, rather than giving insurance? Because usually that building hospital is a state subject, and health is a state subject. Instead, we can pump money into that. Like why we have to go for insurance?
Sir, alongside the thing that we also need to build hospitals, I feel already the government has brought in the policy of one district, one hospital, one medical college. And though there were certain issues with the NMC with regards to medical colleges, the union government in a recent statement had again mentioned that we need a medical college per district and one hospital per district as well on the government front. So sir, that definitely caters to the former part of your statement. And sir, on the latter part about different health systems, be it the NHS or Medicare, sir, I feel that there is not one unique system which is foolproof, which does not have any disadvantage. And ours being an evolving healthcare system as well, the current GDP that we've been putting across is around 1.28%. And sir, once it is improved to 4 to 6% on comparison to the developed countries or the Scandinavian countries, I believe we will be able to work out on a better system, be it the Medicaid system or the NHS system. And this is a part of the evolution, sir.
Okay. You are a polyglot.
Yes, sir.
How many languages do you know?
Sir, I speak 3 languages fluently, and for the rest 2 I can understand. And the 3 include, one would be Hindi, the second being English, and third being Tamil. And as far as Telugu and Malayalam is concerned, I can understand the language, sir.
What is your optional subject here?
Sir, medical science.
So you took medical science.
Yes, sir.
Very few doctors take medical science. You are an exception. What is the reason? They take geography, history, psychology, but not medical science.
Sir, there could be 2 reasons to this. One, that as of the recent trends are concerned, medical science has been a relatively average scoring optional. So because of the vastness of the subject, there are 19 subjects that are examined as part of the optional paper as well. So since the exam is definitely bulkier to read and reproduce it on the paper on one particular day, that could be one reason. And the second, sir, that could also be a condition where probably medical graduates entering the civil services aspire to read up the other subjects. So their interest into other domains can as well pull them towards history or geography. So these are 2 things, sir.
So your father was posted in Maharashtra, right?
Yes, sir.
That was last.
Yes, sir.
What was he doing there?
Sir, he was a chartered accountant with Tata Technologies, Pune.
I see. And when did you get a chance to pick up Hindi?
Sir, I picked it up since my grade 1. It was my second language.
It was your second language. Hindi was your second language. Okay. Now, you said about organ transplant and other issues. Is there a bureaucrat who was involved who was from the civil service cadre in Tamil Nadu? Are you aware of a person?
Sir, in organ transplantation, sir.
Mr. Devgar?
No, sir, I've not heard.
Because that will also help in your answering these 2 questions which came from the chairman as well as the other board member. Why you want to, get into, after doing so well in medicine, why you want to do, civil service. So that gentleman had contributed a big time to this organ transplant. So Matthew would quote it and said, I can do something better than that or whatever.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Is there another present IAS cadre officer from Tamil Nadu who's from the medical sciences?
I can recollect a few of them, sir. One is the current Principal Secretary to the Chief Minister, Dr. Umanath, sir. The second one would be the National Health Mission former Director, I believe, Dr. Darius Ahmed, sir. And Apart from that, Dr. Radhakrishnan sir happens to be a part of the veterinary sciences, but he is a doctor as well.
He is also from the veterinary.
Yes, also. So this could also help you to answer those type of questions. These are role models that are already there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. The one thing is, which is setting you apart, is you've done so exceedingly well in medicine. Right. Now, coming to UN, is it relevant nowadays? There's so many wars going on all over the place. And their main charter is to maintain peace, right? Should we disband and look for something better?
Sir, the Honorable External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, has also mentioned in one of the summits that when the world becomes India ready, the new India becomes world ready. So, in this context, sir, this was actually a part of the statement in G20, but I think I could extrapolate this to the question, with the feature being that the United Nations is definitely, it was constituted in 1945 by India as well. And it happens to be an international body to solve conflicts, to ensure peace as part of its charter in the article number 1. But then the UN has been more of a silent spectator over the days and over the years to the scenario being about how China or Russia have been able to veto certain policies, or about the conflicts that have been happening across the globe. And sir, I feel that the reform measure that needs to be taken up in UNSC in this context would be to include India and other members of the G4 into the UNSC body. The reason being that we also have a lion's share of the population, nearly 1/6 of the globe. We've been a nuclear power state as well. We've been a major part of the peacekeeping force, and so on and so forth. So I think that there are certain reform measures that need to be taken in the United Nations, and like once that is done, UN can definitely be the numero uno body in devising whatever charter it was already meant for, sir.
Are you aware of the reason why this veto power was given to these nations when UN was formed?
I'm not aware of the exact reason, sir.
The reason is the League of Nations failed because of that. League of Nations, the precursor to the United Nations, failed because the past who could stop war or otherwise were not given that veto power. So this was introduced, but which is now detrimental to the United Nations itself. Good. And what do you think of India and its neighbors? Do the neighbors don't trust India? Are they veering towards China, or what is it now? Because what is happening in Maldives, what's happening in Nepal, Bhutan, and other places, it sort of looks as if people want to, are drawn towards China rather than India, or trying to play, both the nations against each other. What's your take on it?
Sir, yet another quote of the Honorable External Affairs Minister that comes to my mind would be that he mentioned in one of the conferences that politics is politics, and that we cannot expect everybody, every day to support or to oppose any country, be it India, and that there are no permanent friends nor enemies in international relations. So, sir, as far as the India neighborhood policy is concerned, we've always been firm on certain ideals, that it is always India first, and we believe in multi-alignment and not non-alignment or putting any country down. Even if it's about China, we wish to engage on the basis of realism. That's what India stands for. And I think, sir, even with respect to China, we've always wanted a peaceful dialogue. We are okay with completely agreeing to the terms and conditions, only with the rider that terrorism and talks cannot go hand in hand, and that any incursions, be it on behalf of China, Pakistan, or Maldives, or any other country that affects the sovereignty of our country or the well-being of our people, that is not something that India can ever tolerate. And these, I believe, are the basic tenets to the neighborhood relationship. And with this in place, I believe we have an extraordinary relationship with countries like Bangladesh or Bhutan. With Nepal and Sri Lanka, there might be some rough patches, but I think we are still good to do. They've kind of not left us out. And with countries like China and Pakistan, we are still open for meaningful engagement. So I think we are still on the path to recovery, sir.
Thank you. Life begins where comfort zone ends. In your life, what have you done to manifest this principle?
So there is yet another adage to this wherein they say that adversary is the nursery to necessity, and sir, in that scenario, I think I've been through enough adversities to understand where comfort starts and ends. And one would be my initial entry into MBBS itself, wherein I had to fight out at least 3 court cases before landing up into MBBS and pursuing my medical studies.
Why court cases to enter MBBS?
Sir, that was the first year of introduction of NEET, and there were certain issues with regards to the counseling process conducted by the union and the state. There was no synchrony, because of which they left out on including me on the counseling platform for the seat. So I had to go to the court like thrice before to get a judgment, and I literally entered my MBBS 8 months after my batchmates. So I could finish my MBBS first year within 7 months of the 12 months. I mean, I was not allowed to give my main exams, and I had to take up the supply exams as my first attempt. So this was one. And the second thing being the personal loss of family members to cancer, I think is definitely a huge hardship that I've gone through, and I think that has all shaped me and emboldened me to what I am today. So these are 2 things that I can recollect, sir.
Have you updated yourself, doctor, about the new issue over prescribing antibiotics?
Yes, sir. Recently there was a notification stating that medical health professionals will have to give the reasons, or the reasoning rather, behind prescription of antibiotics and which antibiotic and for what. So this was a recent notification that came up.
As a bureaucrat, there could be issues where the government under which you are working would be taking a law which could actually be contrary to the central government's act. Which side would you work towards?
Sir, I think I would work on the side of the constitution of our country, and whatever the constitution spells out, whatever the law of the land says, including the Supreme Court judgments or maybe the constitutional courts, that is what I would work for. Be it any tussle between the union or state, I think I would stick to this.
You're a gold medalist. Do we require a system like NEET to select the right candidates for medical education?
Sir, in my opinion, I think NEET has brought in standardization within private and deemed medical colleges with respect to common counseling and with respect to setting the minimum standards of merit that a candidate needs to enter into. So capitation system or the other backdoor entries have definitely been cut off in private and deemed setups. As far as the state government medical colleges are concerned, there were certain aspersions cast about rural and disadvantaged students being left out. And NEET, I think, has done away with that as well. The reason being, we've had schemes such as the Nan scheme to coach students for NEET as well. That is one. The second thing being the 7.5% reservation, which has been brought in for students from rural and government background, as in the government school students. So I think these two have bridged the gap that was raised between NEET and the +2 cutoff system. And yet another advantage that I see to NEET would be that in the previous +2 cutoff system, you only had one single attempt. Say you had a fever that day, you didn't perform a paper well, your life is doomed with respect to medical education through the state quota. But then, sir, NEET has given them the opportunity to appear not once or twice, but n number of times until they wish to and aspire for the medical seat. And even in my college, I've had a multitude of juniors get in this way, both through a number of attempts or through the government school category. So I feel NEET has been a success formula even in Tamil Nadu.
Which many would argue that only those students who can afford payment of coaching fee for private institutes, which could range up to 3 to 10 lakh rupees, can actually afford even to study 2 or 3 years. Whereas people who cannot afford it, no matter how many attempts they can make, they still will not make it without going through the coaching system, which they cannot afford.
So, just as I had mentioned on this aspect, I think the Tamil Nadu government has been coaching students as well through an entrance examination that they conduct, and on the basis of the scheme that they've brought in, they don't have to render coaching in private institutions. And the curriculum also has been streamlined on this aspect. Like the NEET examination is conducted by the National Testing Agency and not the NCERT or the CBSE. And the curriculum also stipulates that they do not prescribe the NCERT or the CBSE or any state board textbook. It is instead the subject with the specific headings that are given. And sir, with this being the situation, I think it's a level playing field for anyone across the country.
Given a choice, what would be your specialization for PG? And tell us about your leadership potential.
So, as far as my PG education, if at all I had to pursue, is concerned, I think I would have chosen general medicine or internal medicine, the same subject, followed by a specialty in medical oncology. So, this would have been my postgraduate specialty. And sir, on the leadership position that I would probably take both as a PG or even otherwise, or in my past as well, I think I would still continue to connect with NGOs and continue my work of the drug de-addiction drives that have been taking up, or my role in the Indian Medical Association. Like until date, I happen to be an office bearer in the IMA as well. So I happen to be the state co-convener even today. And apart from this, I think I'll be able to take up my role in coordination with my friends, my fraternity alongside. And I think I've always been proactive in contributing to medical journals as well. Not on the academic aspect, but on education perspectives. Like the interviewer part, if I may quote, you were one of the persons who interviewed me for a topic on NEET like 4 years back. So I've been a contributor to medical journals as well on these aspects of medical education. So I think I would continue my job, sir.
Last question. Many argue that when you had the earlier system of +2 marks-based medical admission, only those who scored 95, 98%, at least they have established their proficiency by scoring high marks, were able to get into medical education, MBBS or BDS. But now someone who has just passed even a slightly above average student can crack NEET and get into the system. In fact, they've shown real examples of how low they had scored in +2, but they managed to score high in NEET. How do you justify this?
Sir, I think as NEET has been an evolving system, if we actually happen to see the scoring patterns of the previous year, if I may cite, sir, R1 was from Tamil Nadu with a score of 720 on 720. And with a 100% score, we had 2 people, of which one had to get R1 and the other was given R2, based on the date of birth criteria. And if government medical college cutoff is concerned, anyone who scores above 600 on 720 is where they get a government medical college seat. And even if it was through the 7.5% quota, they needed a minimum score of at least 450 to 500 to enter. And sir, the minimum cutoff of 130 that has been fixed is more so because the criteria is the 50th percentile and not the percentage system. As far as the +2 marks are concerned, our motive is not to promote merit per se, but to promote every student to pursue a higher education. So the cutoff is maintained at 50% and not percentile. Because when the percentile system is kept, we definitely want 50% of the students to go down or fail the exam voluntarily. So that is the minimum set standards of merit. So I think it is an artificial scenario in case of numbers. If we were to compare just numbers, I think it is like comparing apples and oranges.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We call you back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Do you have some coffee?
No, thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.